Hello everybody! Welcome back to Generation Jumble! And now, as you see in front of you, we have the round 2 usage ratings and win rates. Now, for the most part, a lot of the Pokemon you saw last time are still here. Obviously, Tauros and Delphox are at the top, and Corviknight's still good. We have some new faces though, but I think we should start by comparing this to the original. And with the original round 1 usage, Delphox and Tauros were tied, and both had a 60% win rate. Corviknight was the third best Pokemon, while Chansey and Starmie were tied for the fourth. We also see Pokemon such as Alakazam and Mimikyu here at the beginning. But yeah, this is a really big change. We have Tauros, which stays at number 1 with a usage rating of 73%, which is impressive, but for RBYOU standards, that's probably what you would expect. Delphox has a bit of a fall down, because it's no longer sharing the one spot with Tauros. It's now number 2, going from a usage rating from 60% to 57%, and that win rate. Oh boy, that win rate. Going down to 33%. That is unfortunate. But why did Starmie surpass Corviknight? Because Corviknight had a 50-50, Starmie had a 41% to 30%, but now you have Corviknight just going down to the 40s, and Starmie's win rate going to 75%. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Starmie is just a very versatile Pokemon that can help people with whatever needs they might need on their team. Not to mention, like I sort of alluded to in yesterday's video, Starmies have now started to use Blizzard, Surf, and Thunderbolt. So with a just threat and offensive package like that, while you're removing the ability to paralyze Pokemon, you can hit Delphox super effectively, you can hit Gliscor super effectively, you can hit Corviknight super effectively, and having this coverage is just really good. It made it more reliable than Chansey or other Pokemon, but even then, Chansey has a 72% win rate. That's really good. Corviknight's still doing pretty good, and it's still basically mandatory. So there's not much that really changes. The top 5 are still the top 5 and are pretty good. Now comparing Gliscor, it did not change its spot at all, neither did Jolteon, but the actual percentages and the win rates did change. Starting with Gliscor, it went from a usage rate of 33% and a win rate of 25% to... not sure why it's taking a little bit to load. But here we have 38%. But way more importantly, it went to a win rate of 60%. And the same thing here with Jolteon. These are just really good Pokemon that a lot of people in Generation Jumble Season 4 have been able to easily succeed with. Now as for Grimmsnarl, it had a 29% usage rate and 28% win rate. And here we have... ooh, yeah, that went down a bit with the win rate to 12.5. I don't know exactly why it did so bad. We are going to be watching some replays today, so maybe we'll get the answer there. But I do know that some people were using Weed Grimmsnarl, and I've also seen just as many people complain about how it's a misuse of Grimmsnarl. I even had some council members like Paw saying that, oh, I kind of forgot that Grimmsnarl could be kind of good because I've been seeing it like lose so much. So I think this is ultimately why it's kind of fallen off, solely because people have just kind of misused it, but not to the fault of the Pokemon itself. And to be honest, like the fact that it's still in the 8th spot despite having a bit of fumble like that, I think just proves just how impressive it is. In the 9th spot we have Jinx. We no longer have Mimikyu, and we no longer have Alakazam. Now why Jinx? Because I was literally saying in the last video that Weak Delphox is really good, and with Delphox being faster than Jinx, that's just not something you want to risk. Well, I think for starters, I think my match definitely did a lot to change people's, their opinions, because I'll just tell you my story when it comes to Season 4. I was just largely disconnected throughout the entire thing. So for all of my matches so far, I went into all of them without really knowing the meta. I just went with what I felt right, and I used Jinx as a lead. and I ended up doing not too bad with it. Not only is Elite Delphox just not always guaranteed, but even if you do use Elite Jinx, not only can it still help you, just like in regular RBY, but you can also play around Delphox. Since it's probably going to go for Fire Blast, it's not really that hard to just switch into a fire-resistant Pokemon. So overall, that alone is a decent reason to use Jinx. But even that wouldn't really reward a 60% win rate, or almost a 20% usage rate, because that would just mean it's one of the more niche Pokemon that's good if you're skilled with it. Well, another reason is because Jinx has just sort of evolved from a mid-game cleaner, or not mid-game cleaner, I mean, lead, which now, or I kind of spoiled it early, unfortunately, but yeah, lead is no longer the most common way to use Jinx. It's more so using it in the mid-game, because Psychic still hits pretty hard. Gliscor is terrified of Jinx. Psychic is just a good move in general, and even Blizzard can do pretty good damage to Corviknight. Even with a light screen up, a crit can still mess up Corviknight pretty badly. And for the most part, freezing is just completely, well, not completely falling off, but with how important things like status reduction are, such as with weird Corviknight or Mystical Fire Jinx, which for whatever reason, freezing is just not as good. So, it's one of the few Pokemon that can still threaten freezes on people, and that's pretty good. Now for the 10th spot, we have a tie between Zapdos and Snorlax. Like I said last time, Snorlax has kind of fallen off a bit, but it's definitely doing a bit better now. Usage rate is only at 15%, nowhere near as big as some of these other Pokemon being seen here, but a win rate of 50% is honestly not that bad. It's better than I would expect. So Snorlax is doing a bit better, and Zapdos is, but why? Starting off with Zapdos, the competition between it and Jolteon is even more competitive now than it was in regular RBY. Delphox being 104 speed is still a big reason why Zapdos isn't as common as it used to be, and it did fall off. But when we say fall off, we just mean just like lower in A tier. It's not like Cloyster or Executor where they completely fell to underuse. It's still a fantastic Pokemon, and it has some advantages over Jolteon. For starters, it's a just much more threatening lead offensive Pokemon with Drill Peck and such. And yes, Delphox is faster, but are you really going to risk, like, Zapdos going for paralysis? Zapdos absolutely has the case to be able to defeat Delphox in a 1v1. So is that really something you want to risk? Even then, the Delphox matchup, I would even say should be in the consequential reason for Zapdos falling off. And it certainly hasn't. It's still one of the best Pokemon. Now as for Snorlax, I think I already said a lot of reasons last time why Snorlax isn't doing as good. Corviknight has kind of made a lot of its sets such as Reflect Wax sort of invalid, and it just struggles a lot this format. So, why is Snorlax in the top 10 spot with a 50% usage rate? There's a lot of reasons, and no, not really, it's because it's Ashley. Just because of one person in particular. We have one person in this tournament that has been doing spectacularly well. Zashly believes that Snorlax is still really good, and anyone who knows her knows that she's usually associated with Eva from Wally. So, it's just her. She is literally carrying Snorlax's entire win rate. And I'm pretty sure she's the only person just using Snorlax in general. So all of the stats you see are just from one person who really wants to prove that Snorlax is good. Yeah, that's kinda... Honestly, I don't like saying good things about Zashly, because she's a contrarian, and she does despicable things like say that the ground bag is wrong on things, which is not true. I've literally never been wrong on a single opinion in my entire life. But, you know, I'll give credit where credit's due. She's making Snorlax show everyone else who's boss. And yeah, Zastry, I know you're watching this. Do not get used to me giving compliments, especially once you and I face each other in the heat of battle. Because I don't know, I don't like it when you call me wrong. I prefer to be right. And let me know in the comments below, if you prefer to be right on things, or you prefer to be wrong. I'd love to know what you guys think about that. But that's about it for round 2. I know I said I was going to bring up other Pokemon last time, such as Skeletor or Hydrapple, and I think for replays, if they become relevant, I'll bring them up. But outside of that, I think most of the discussion will be left in the tier list when I do that with the council members, unless they end up becoming relevant and move up the spots in the usage rate for round 3, which you'll see what I mean later on. But for now, let's go on some of the highlights for the round 2. We're going over both losers bracket and winners bracket. And if I can tell you any stories, I will tell you, like anything I know. But for the most part, all of these I'm just reacting to blind. Starting with Sotina versus Zacanthias. These two are council members, and they're the European ones. So you have the British Zacanthias and the French Sotina. So that alone gives them an intense rivalry. But let's see how this match goes. I actually don't know what happens here. So we have Lead Jinx versus Lead Starmie. I guess Zacanthias also is kind of proving that Lead Jinx can be pretty good. And obviously with Starmie just being good as usual, that in turn just makes it good for Jinx over here. Now you have a sword stance, and going for Reflect, very interesting, but I can 110% see the reason why. With Reflect, Corviknight is not doing anything to Mimikyu. It is setting up the sword stance and getting hit with a crit, oh my god. But you have Rest? Okay, I am absolutely loving this set here. Zacanthias, this is based, and you gotta keep using this. Now, unfortunately, Jinx putting Mimikyu to sleep kind of ruins everything. So I'm sorry about that, because Zacanthias, you were cooking. You were definitely cooking there. You go for Amnesia, and you, oh my gosh, Zacanthias, what does this look? Even you guys are reacting in the chat. This is so sad. You got the burn, or no, you don't even burn a sweep turn off. You just called the switch. You go for Spirit Break. Corviknight does not care, but you stay in. You tank a Body Slam. You don't get paralyzed. You go for Reflect. Corviknight is just not able to hurt you. Paralyze you, sure, but what does it do afterwards? Try to fish for a crit? Probably not going to work out. There's Spirit Break. Not doing much there. You switch in the Gliscor, but you went for Ice Punch. And the Freeze! I don't know how you call it that, but that was awesome. Man, Zacanthias, you are cooking with these sets. I love it. What? Okay, a crit did way more than I thought. Holy crap. But on the bright side, Zacanthias got a free switch in, and you went for Psychic, which got the crit, killing the Gliscor. And you go for Mystical Fire, which lowers Starmie's special attack. Could be very annoying. You go for another one, and once again, it gets lowered. Unfortunately, due to how Gen 1... Executor? Huh. Well, Executor tries to go for a Sweet Powder, it misses, and Corviknight hits a super effective Drill Peck. Yeah, Corviknight's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, for Executor doing horribly. And going for a Fire Spin, just guaranteeing that damage range, I think that's probably the best idea. There's Starmie being trapped, you use this moment to pivot, you go into Jinx, there's not much Starmie can do other than hit Surf, but unfortunately Zack is just getting the worst luck ever. Surf hurts a lot, there's a Blizzard, it does practically nothing. There's another Surf, Jinx is taken out, and now there is not much left to do if you're Zacanthias. Most of your team has been lost, and it's going to be really hard to make it back from this. Luckily though, Delphox will get a free Psychic on here, so Gengar's taken out, so it's not unwinnable. In comes Starmie. Surf hits a lot. You go for Mystical Fire, but unfortunately it is not enough. Surf can and will kill. I didn't even need to watch this replay beforehand to know that. All you have up is a Mimikyu that's asleep, but with the special drop that just ends it completely. And the crit, are you kidding? Not like this. Zacanthias had awesome sets, and that's how you repay him? Not cool. Not cool at all, Sotina. Alright, next off. This time we have Lead Gourgeist, and I know for a fact that Zacanthias does prefer the small version. You should watch my What If Gourgeist was a Gen 1 OE video, and check his comment down there if you're interested. Because he had a lot of good reasons for the viability of each of the Gourgeist sizes. Well, here we have Runerigus. Unfortunately, Zack didn't pay enough attention to the damage ranges, so Hypno was able to take it out. The small Gorgeist is now taken, or paralyzed. And with Explosion, it takes out the Hypno, but this Hypno already did a 2-for-1. Excellent trade. And now we have another trade where you're forced to let Jinx put something to sleep, but Chansey is the GOAT, missing the... Oh, that's... what the heck? Really? Fire Blast? I guess I can see the vision, and it definitely hurt Jinx pretty hard. No denying that. But now, Tina goes completely aggro, going straight into the Tauros, a critical body slam, more than enough to kill. There's Grimmsnarl trying to paralyze the Tauros, or just going for Reflect, that works too. Okay, now both these are paralyzed, so Jolteon is a little bit hindered, but that Thunderbolt hit really hard, and Grimmsnarl is fully paralyzed. Grimmsnarl is taken out with another crit. Oh boy. Man, Zack and Diaz, you're just... oh man, this poor dude. And now his Trolls is paralyzed, and I'm starting to see the writing on the wall here. So Tina uses Victory Bow, going for... wow, really? You know, if you're gonna go for Raptor, you don't get the decency of having this completely played out. We're putting it as a Hyper Fast. So, Victory Bow is taken out, and all that left is Swoobat. Leaving with a support... okay, Reflector is also pretty interesting. Huh. So you're just completely getting rid of Thunder Wave and Super Fang just for... okay. Okay, that's interesting. But so Tina won that pretty cleanly. But now we have Zastui versus Ibuki. The only thing I know for a fact is that Zastui will be using Snorlax probably. Because they are like the Snorlax queen, apparently. We have Wii Jolteon, and unfortunately Ibuki immediately goes in the Gliscor. Zastui goes in the Cloyster, and I had no idea. Okay, that name is actually really based. Okay, either way though, I did not even know Cloyster was used in this tournament. And here's something you need to know about Ibuki. Ibuki, Lapras is basically their signature Pokemon. So I'm pretty sure for literally every single one of their matches, they use Lapras. Which, that's a pretty cool, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but that's pretty cool to associate yourself with, yeah. But here we have Chansey being put to sleep. Gliscor goes for another substitute. It goes for a Sword Stance, staying in, which is interesting. Are they going to try to go for a Rock Slide? Oh, but they can't even, because I guess they didn't realize that they're still trapped with the Clamp. Gliscor's taken out with a crit that most certainly mattered, and I don't believe if you say it didn't. There's Jolteon, and there's another Executor. Okay, that's kind of neat. You go in the Delphox, which is easily beats this Executor, especially while paralyzed. We go for Fire Blast. Doesn't do that much, but there's also no reason why you can't spam Psychic. So there's a Psychic, getting the special drop, Chansey's weakened. You go in the Snorlax, you hit a Fire Blast, that gets a crit. And Snorlax is able to go for Amnesia. I guess I forgot to say that before, but Amnesia Snorlax getting considerably better. Mostly because the other Snorlax sets just aren't as good. That's definitely part of the reason why Snorlax is doing better. But here we have Snorlax getting hit with a crit, but so far still hanging in there. It's kind of risky though, but you go for another rest. Will you hit another crit? No, you won't. So far you're fine. You're going to rest off these turns. There's the crit though, which is unfortunate. You wake up, they are fully paralyzed. You can go for another rest. Kinda nerve-wracking, but this paralysis is certainly helping you a lot. There's Psychic, not doing anything. You wake up, they go for Psychic. No. Okay, you get a special drop, but so far you're fine. Fire Blast hits is not a crit, but you do get burned, but you don't care too much about that. So Snorlax is doing pretty good here. There's a Body Slam on Tauros. You go for Reflect, so it's Amnesia. Oh, that is so unfortunate, but that set was interesting. You go back into Executor, they go in the Lapras. You unfortunately miss a Sweet Powder, they go in the Cloyster, you go for Blizzard. Blizzard hits a crit, which was needed in order to get oh man, okay, that was, I'm not sure I wasn't expecting Explosion. That was obviously the best play. Jolteon kills Lapras. You go back into Tauros, not what you want. Tauros is now paralyzed. giving Zastui a huge advantage, and Jolteon even survives a critical body slam, getting a nice juicy Thunderbolt, getting another crit body slam just because they want to show dominance. Body slam hits, gets the crit, Tauros whips at 1 HP. The other Tauros does not kill with Hyper Beam. You get a free switching into Executor. Executor outspeeds, kills the Tauros. They go into Starmie. Do you go for Explosion here? I would go for Explosion personally. But you know, Sweet Powder probably makes more sense now that I think about it. There's Double Edge. Not doing that much, but since Starmie is asleep, anything can happen. Body Slam, or not Body Slam, Double Edge hits Jolteon for decent damage. Jolteon goes for Reflect, which allows it to survive the explosion. There's Thunderbolt, getting a crit. That is huge. Now you go into Chansey, which is asleep. They hit Thunderbolt, not enough. Chansey, will you wake up? Nope, not yet. Okay, now you wake up. The next hit needs to kill, and with the crit, it definitely will. Ibuki won that round. But it's not over, because we have another replay between these two. I don't think I have all 3 replays for them, but this is still a pretty good match. We have Surf getting a crit on Lapras, doing decent ship. Another Thunderbolt was also in turn does decent ship. Thunderbolt on Lapras hits just as hard, but Starmie will definitely win this exchange, unless there's a crit. But it's not a crit, no paralysis. You do get a crit there though, but that's when it didn't matter. Just kidding, it always matters. Jolteon can very easily revenge kill, but you go into Gliscor. Gliscor can handle Jolteon. And they went for Delphox, which is a very interesting gamble. But it worked out, because now Gliscor's been put to sleep. They go into Chansey. Chansey eats a Psychic pretty easily. Fire Spin's very annoying. Ibuki stays in, interesting enough, not pivoting into something else. That's what I would have done personally, but it's whatever. You're getting some chip on Chansey, but it's not really efficient. And because of you just trying to spam Fire Spin, now your Delphox is paralyzed, which is a shame because Delphox is looking really good on this team, especially with Starmie being so weakened already. But oh well, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Gliscor eats the Thunderbolt very easily, and goes for a substitute. Interesting choice, considering Chansey almost always has Ice Beam. But they go for Earthquake. It does about a third. Ice Beam definitely kills there. You go on the Tauros, Hyper Beam can kill. And they go for it, which is not enough. It only does a third to Snorlax, unfortunately. Body Slam does pretty good damage to Tauros there. You switch into Delphox, they go for another Body Slam. A third Body Slam will kill, and there it is. Delphox is down. You go for Starmie. And just Starmie, a weakened Tauros and Jolteon against... Yeah, this is not working well for Ibuki right now. Body Slam is doing a lot of damage. Snorlax is still hanging in there and going for rest. So now, Starmie, I imagine, will probably go for Recover, just because it wants to not die. Now, Snorlax wakes up, and Starmie still going for the attack. I guess you're just trying to fish for a freeze or a crit or something. It did not work out for you though, but Tauros can definitely kill with this damage range, but Snorlax has done more than enough. In fact, if you look at Zastui, they have an entire team left basically. Even with a critical body slam, at best this makes it a speed tie, but the speed tie didn't even matter because you missed Hyper Beam. Last is Jolteon, and Jolteon can do basically nothing because you have Gliscor and you have a health, or basically healthy Chansey. So yeah, there's nothing you can do here. Jolteon has lost, and Ibuki put up a pretty good fight, honestly. And don't worry, it's not the last we will see of Ibuki in this video, because I have one more against someone else that they have a bit of a history with, and I will explain that in a little bit. But for now, Zastui takes out Zapdos. Just having Zapdos finish the job. Thunderbolt does a lot of damage here. You go for your own Thunderbolt, not getting a crit. Zapdos does get the crit though, taking out Jolteon and making Zastui win game 2. Now, next off, we're going to be having Master Gemstone versus Plausible. Again, if you'd like to see all of the replays, go into my server, click the link in the description below, and check out the Jumble Tournament replay channel. That's where you can see all of the replays for this tournament. There's a lot of great matches that we couldn't show, but that's because I can't show everything, because my voice cannot handle an entire thing of or an entire round of replays. Maybe one day, but for now I'm going to take a sip of this water. Yeah, that was some pretty good water. You guys should stay hydrated. It's very important. But let's go to Plausible versus Gemstone. We Delphox Mirror, which is pretty fun, but Gemstone just wanted it more, so they managed to win. You switch into Alakazam, tanking a Thunder Punch very easily. They go in the Gliscor. You go for Thunder Wave, but didn't really work. Do you stay in? No, you don't. You switch into Corviknight, which can, well, Gliscor pretty well. Rock Slide doesn't do that much, but neither does Drill Peck. But at the very least, you can chip each other, see what each other have. You probably know what the other set has, but there's always no harm in just checking it out, you know? Corviknight gets a rest there. There's Rock Slide, doing decent damage. And they're just gonna keep trying to go for it. And Corviknight will wake up in time. So I guess what you're trying to do is, if you're pawns, just keep going for rest. Sooner or later, Gliscor will miss a Rock Slide, or the Governor's Swords Dance, like you see there, which could help. But instead, Tauros takes a lot of damage from Rock Slide. Blizzard can kill though, and even though it's weakened, you have an entire team, so this Tauros can still be helpful later. Due to the 1-256 glitch, Starmie does miss a Surf, which could be relevant, and there's Zapdos, switching in the Grimmsnarl, which is a very interesting choice. But now that it's safely in, it goes for Spirit Break. Zapdos, is not doing well. Chansey isn't really either. It hates being hit with Spirit Break. It's taking a lot of damage, and its special it's being lowered, which is very annoying. But the Grimmsnarl is paralyzed. But so far, it's going pretty well for Plausible. You go for Soft Boil, but at this point, you're just kind of waiting for that crit to happen, which will happen sooner or later. Chansey heals, there's no Spirit Break, no crit yet. But there's also just not much you can really switch into. Gemstone's entire team, minus Gliscor so far, we can see is only just special attackers. So what wants to switch into a Spirit Break? Nothing really. Maybe Zapdos is the best choice here? But that's only because it has Drill Peck. And even then, it is struggling because of the glitch where lowering stats resets the paralysis. Zapdos is taken out. You go into your Tauros. They go into Corviknight. But luckily you knew that they were going to probably go for that, so at least you didn't go for Hyper Beam. But Blizzard is not really doing a lot. You go into Starmie. Starmie gets hit with a Drill Peck. You switch into Zam, predicting a Thunderbolt, and even with a crit, it's pretty manageable damage. You heal no problem. They paralyze you. But still, it's not that bad. And with Starmie paralyzed, there is not much Gemstone can do. Boss has his entire team left, and Spirit Break is a threat to all of his Pokemon. Even though Tauros isn't going to be caring too much about the special attack drop, it makes it worse against Corviknight. And way more importantly, Gemstone's Tauros is going to have to pull way more work just because of how many Pokemon Gemstone has lost. So any chip damage is a big deal. But now we have Delphox not doing that much, but luckily, Boss's Delphox is not woken up. You go for Surf, getting the crit. Plus, finally lost a Pokemon. They go into Zam, and they switch into the healthy Delphox. Alakazam heals, which is always nice. Fire Blast does do good damage though, especially when they're fully paralyzed. You go for Thunder Punch protecting a switch, but they didn't. But it doesn't matter, because that Thunder Punch also did help you put Zam into a range. You switch into Tauros, you hit Earthquake, you don't get a crit. Psychic sadly does not kill though. So, there's Delphox gone. You go into Chansey. Pretty risky, but Chansey did not get crit, so Tauros is taken out. So it looks like Gemstone can actually turn this around. Was not expecting that. Drill Peck kills that. There's Tauros against a healthy Zapdos. But this Corviknight's also relatively healthy. It's paralyzed and not so healthy anymore, for no reason why you can't just rest, or go for chip damage with Drill Peck. There's Grimmsnarl. Nowhere near as good now since it's taking damage and Starmie outspeeds, but still, you don't care. You just needed a clean switch into Zapdos, which you were able to do easily. It's just Tauros versus the world, and it's not even going to be doing that well against Corviknight in the first place. Tauros is paralyzed, which will make the matchup against Corviknight even worse, if it can even get there, because its Zapdos is also paralyzed. Hyper Beam does kill, leaving just Corviknight and Tauros. Both these are paralyzed, but Corviknight is not scared of Blizzard. A crit will do decent damage, but you can rest it off. The only thing that can win right now is a freeze, which is pretty unlikely. But there's a crit. It doesn't even do 40%. Drill Peck does do decent damage though. There's a Blizzard. You go for Drill Peck. Tauros barely survives. Claus gets hit with a crit and that kills it. Gemstone won that battle at 1 HP. Now that was hype. And way closer than I thought. Gemstone, if you're watching this, I'd like to apologize. I was not familiar with your game. It really looked like Claus was dominating the entire time, but you managed to pull it out. So congratulations. That was pretty cool. And now we have me versus Strict Sceptile. Now, to give some context, like I said, I was not really knowing what to do. So I said to Strict Sceptile, okay, like, let's do our match. Like, when do you want to do it? And he said Friday. So I had a week to think of what I wanted to do. And I made my team 5 minutes before our match started. That's because I'm just a good decision maker. And I've never made a mistake in my entire life. And this replay right here will prove it. They use Elite Jinx. I use Elite Starmie. Paralyzing Jinx. And also, I don't care too much because... what, they only have like Ice and Psychic moves? I can burn Elite to Sweep turn. Now, Strict Sceptile does bring in Snorlax, and it's Amnesia Wax. Ice Saiyan go for a Light Screen. They went for Thunderbolt, but because of that Light Screen, I didn't care too much. I go for a Leer, weakening Snorlax. They go for another Amnesia. I do care about that a little bit. I go into Jolteon, which tanks a critical Thunderbolt very easily. Paralyze Snorlax. And next, I go for a Double Kick, because I just can't resist with that defense drop. Not really doing that much, to be honest. I probably was better off just switching into something else, but I just couldn't help it. I needed to stay in. And Snorlax did take some decent damage there. I go for another Double Kick, getting a crit that time. Unfortunately, is not enough to kill, but it doesn't matter because Snorlax went for rest, giving me an opportunity to switch into Tauros. With that defense drop, this will be doing way more damage, and they know that too, so they switched into Mimikyu. Now I switch into Corviknight, which could handle Mimikyu pretty easily. Corviknight's paralyzed, but I have rest on it, I don't care that much. Now Skeleturge, that is something I care about. I go into Chansey, and they go for Substitute. Now they go for Torch Song, they hit it, get a special attack boost. I paralyze the Skeleturge. I go for Ice Beam, and to my surprise, it was not enough to break the sub. Could be a bit of a problem. I go for another Ice Beam though, doing decent damage. They go for another sub. I probably should switch out, and I go into Vaporeon, because I felt like using Vaporeon, alright? This was the second round with Strict Sceptile. I also used it in the first round. I went for Body Slam, predicting them switching to something, but they didn't. But here's Snorlax. Surf does pretty good damage to Snorlax here. I even got a crit, which was definitely needed. They switch into Skeleturge, sacrificing it. Probably for the best. It was paralyzed and on the verge of death. They go into Mimikyu. And given Vaporeon's bulk, I had no problem staying in. But I'd rather just burn sweep turns with Corviknight. So Corviknight is going to have to take on a max attack Mimikyu. Which, to be fair, isn't the most unreasonable thing in the world. There's Play Rough. It hits a crit, which actually did matter. That weakened it a lot. There's another... Or actually, unfortunately for them, they went for Slash. Slash, unfortunately, does not take into account the max attack. Play Rough does, but it didn't even do half health. Really showing how bulky the Corviknight really is. But unfortunately, Jolteon outspeeds Mimikyu here. Mimikyu is taken out. They go into Grimmsnarl. I paralyze it. I'm just in a really good position where I can afford to risk more of my Pokemon. But who needs to do that when I can just go for a rest? I keep in Jolteon. It's not doing that bad, but there it's hit with a Spirit Break. But Jolteon wakes up like the MVP that he is. And now I decide to stay in, get the crit, because I am just the greatest player in the universe, as you can see right now. Jolteon's taken out, but it's already did its job. I go into Vaporeon. Surf is more than enough to kill. They go in the Corviknight. But once again, Vaporeon can handle it. But with Light Screen, it's definitely more annoying. They're going for Body Slam. Vaporeon is in fact paralyzed. But I just go for Blizzard. So at that point, might as well just fish for a freeze, right? What's the worst that can happen? It's not like Surf was doing a lot of damage anyways. There's Surf, don't get the crit which I was hoping for. Drill Pick hurts, Vaporeon's fully paralyzed, and I did have rest on that Vaporeon. That was what I was trying to go for, but didn't work out. I go for a Thunderbolt on Tauros though. Does not kill because of the light screen, but why not just fish for a crit? It's Tauros, it's what it does. Now unfortunately, not getting it right now, and since I didn't get it, I decided it was better just to switch into Starmie. Burn those sweep turns, it's probably best. But I switched back into Tauros because I figured Snorlax was going to go for a rest. They didn't go for a rest, so Tauros was able to kill the Snorlax. They go into Jinx, I switch into Chansey. Chansey gets hit with a Blizzard. And at this point, Tauros kind of already won the game. So I don't really care too much about what happens to my Starmie or my Chansey. I'm just trying to whittle down this Jinx, just so that it's no longer a threat to my Tauros, and it definitely won't be anymore, especially with those full paralysis turns. Gets hit with a crit. The crit mattered. It always mattered. Last is Corviknight, but Corviknight now has to deal with 3 Pokemon that can just fish for a crit to their heart's desire. They try to go for a Body Slam, because unfortunately, Strict Sceptile did not know that normal types cannot get paralyzed by Body Slam. But it didn't matter, even if Chansey did get paralyzed, the battle's over. Corviknight can try to fight as much as it wants, but even if we're ignoring Starmie and Tauros, Corviknight here just cannot do enough with the Chansey. So even with base 50 speed, Chansey has no problem fishing for those crits. Unfortunately, Starmie does not wake up, but does it really matter? I wasted 1 Pokemon, but I think it was worth the gamble. We go back into Chansey. Chansey paralyzes the Corviknight. Body Slam is not doing enough. I am in full control here. Yeah, there it is in the chat. Not a single Paraman. Unfortunate, but that was... Yeah, you have Zastri there, do they know? Which, maybe I shouldn't do this, but I just wanted to correct them. I didn't want them to keep using Body Slam, because I kind of felt bad. Maybe I should give my opponent advice, but it doesn't really matter. Corviknight got hit with a crit, and it was taken out. Ground Bag is the winner, because Ground Bag is supreme. I like to remind you guys that you should definitely join the server. We do more than just Generation Jumble. It's just a pretty active community in general, with other channels as well, such as Minecraft, Terraria, Fortnite. We often have like game nights where we play things like Among Us, or if you just ask, there will be plenty of people just down to join you in VC. So please join, I'd love to have you there. Now next up is Ibuki versus Shoei Yu-Gi-Oh! I only have one of their matches here, unfortunately, but there is a bit of a story here that's really funny. Now one thing you need to know about both of these people is that they're both Danganronpa fans, unfortunately. And after Ibuki lost her match against Zastri, she eventually had to fight Shoei, if not immediately. And the first thing she did when she saw that she was facing Shoei, she went into Shoei's DMs and said, "I'm gonna kick your ass." And we're gonna see right now if she was lying or if she was all bark and no bite. Let the battle begin. We have Weak Delphox versus the Weak Dugtrio. A pretty awesome gamble, and Dugtrio is getting some work in with a Earthquake, doing a very devastating 3rd% to a Pokemon that has Recover. There's Starmie resisting Blizzard. They go on the Gliscor, eating up that Thunder Wave, which was definitely an easy call. You go on the Lapras, they go for Blizzard. Lapras didn't even need to tank it. It just took that very easily. Or not take it, you know what I mean. They go on the Zapdos, you go for Thunderbolt. It does like some chip, predicting a switch, which was a good call. But unfortunately, Shoei does hit with the Hypnosis. You go into your own Delphox, which no longer has to fear anything from the other Delphox. They go into Dugtrio, you go for Hypnosis, which really sucks. Dugtrio could have been a very interesting, but albeit not the most impactful thing now that I think about it. Because now that I'm thinking about it, like, let's see here. Gliscor, Starmie, Lapras. Yeah, you know what? Dugtrio being put to sleep is fine. It's actually not doing much here. It kind of sucks. So sorry, Shelly. I could see the vision, but it didn't work out. Always for I will see. But there's Stealth Fox versus Stealth Fox. Both of you going for Psychic, but Shelly just wanted the special drop a little bit more. You go in the Lapras, which is very tanky. They go in the Starmie, you go for Surf. Shelly is most likely going for Recover here. You go for Thunderbolt, of course you do, but no crit, which is a shame. A crit should be enough to kill. It's just a matter of if or when. A Paralysis can also work. But at the same time, Lapras being fully paralyzed could be a big issue. Starmie is still going for those recovers though, and Ibuki is not really in a bad position. They can handle this pretty well, but there is the full para, unfortunate. But you do switch into Jolteon, predicting that Thunderbolt. They can't stay in and go for Thunder Wave. You switch into Gliscor, they go in the Dugtrio. This is a free turn to burn sweep, and you wake up. It's going great so far. Starmie stays in, Starmie gets paralyzed, and you go for Recover. And you go for Thunderbolt. That took a lot of damage, holy crap. You're forced to switch, so you go into Jolteon, but Shelly called it and went for Thunder Wave. Good call on Shelly there. They even got a turn, the burn sweep with Dugtrio. Didn't work out, unfortunately. Didn't wake up. You go into Delphox. They go for Substitute, but you missed Hypnosis. So Earthquake kills. Devastating. In the Starmie you go. Gliscor is fine because that's Substitute. Even hitting a critical Earthquake. And they were trying to stay in, trying to get for more damage. But Shelly called that and went for... Okay, that's awesome. Shelly's making so many right calls this game. Maybe he would be doing better if he had a real Pokemon instead of freaking Dugtrio. But there's a light screen, so Thunderbolt is not going to do that much anymore. You go for Rest? No, you just go for Drill Peck. And Lapras is fully paralyzed. You go for another Drill Peck. You're doing good damage, especially when Lapras is just not able to move. A third paralysis in a row. Very unfortunate. But Corviknight handles that. But you maybe should have gone for Rest, because even with the light screen, Fire Blast will be enough to kill you there. For some reason, Shelly just goes for an attack. Didn't work out, because, Delphox there. But Earthquake is enough to kill. And Starmie gets killed by... Or it would have been killed by Hyper Beam, but instead that happened. That is actually... Yeah, no, that... I think just killed Shelly's chances. Holy crap. No wonder he kind of hates Gen 1 now. Oh my god. Oh man, poor Shelly. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. Even went for... You didn't even bother going for Blizzard. You just went for Hyper Beam. Oh my gosh, that was devastating. Shelly, I'm so sorry for you. Shelly has my condolences, and you know what? Did that get Shelly eliminated from the tournament? Yes. Did Shelly lose his first round because of a 1-56 glitch where he was going to win? Yes. Alright, let's move on. Now, next off, we have another match in Losers Bracket, and we have Cyber DJ versus Zach and Theus. Once again, we have two council members, and this should be fun. I'm especially excited since I really like Zach and Theus' teams from the first round. Cyber DJ already getting a really good start with dodging a Lovely Kiss and getting a crit. Yeah, Zach and Theus is in a horrible position, and Starmie wakes up immediately. Grimmsnarl is paralyzed. This is a huge deal. Getting a Surf, doing decent damage, and there's the Spirit Break. You go into Chansey. They're fully paralyzed. Man, you were just getting so lucky. This is... Man, Cyber, what the... Are you kidding me? Is that... Okay, I need to see Shelly and Zach fight each other to see who has the worst RNG this season. This is sad. But there's Gliscor. Gliscor just being a really good Pokemon that counters Jolteon very well. You go in the Mimikyu. You switch out, which I think is interesting. Oh, wait, no, I shouldn't be too surprised. Because of Zakanthea is using Reflect, Mimikyu, that makes a lot of sense now. Surf gets a crit though, not enough to kill, and Play Rough is also not enough to kill, but Cyber going for Surf, but now they have a free switch in the Jolteon. But does that really matter when you have Gliscor? Double kick hits, but look at that! That was pathetic! Truly pathetic. And Jinx is taken out. You go on the Alakazam, but if you're Cyber, there is really no reason why you can't just dedicate your entire team to Gliscor. You know for a fact that Gliscor beats Jolteon very well, and Grimmsnarl is doing great against Zam. Zam is just not being able to move. There was another Spirit Break. Zam's in trouble. Paralysis is not gonna be enough here. It looks like, or maybe it will be. Huh, interesting. I guess they were predicting a Corviknight switch in, but I think that's kind of weird. I think they would have used Corviknight by now if they had it. But there's a critical Fire Spin. That actually is pretty relevant. And this is probably a case where you do stay in with the Fire Spin. Or maybe not, because it doesn't look like it's enough. But still, free Jolteon switch in. Oh, but you called that they were gonna... Okay, that was awesome. That was super awesome. Thunder Wave was unnecessary though. You should just went for the kill with Surf, but it did not matter. You have your entire team, and they have Gliscor, so Zakanthea surrenders. Wow. I don't even know what to say about that. What I do know is that there's another round, so let's see how this one goes. Hopefully, Zakanthea does better. Not that that first game was really his fault, that was just so unlucky, it's not even funny. Now we have both leads paralyzing each other. You go into Gengar but being hit with a crit. But even then, like, you probably just switch in anyways just because you don't want to risk Thunderbolt. And Gourgeist is put to sleep, so that's relevant. You go into Grimmsnarl, you go into Chansey. They go into Rhydon, which, even though I haven't really talked about Rhydon, is still very good. Spirit Break is also pretty good, weakening Starmie in the process. There's another Spirit Break, getting a crit. Starmie is taken out. You go on the Delphox, put Grimmsnarl to sleep. Okay, this is going pretty good. There's Gengar. You hit it with a Fire Spin. And now Cyber's free to switch into anything he wants. He chooses Rhydon for very obvious reasons. You go on a Hypno. Cyber goes for a Substitute, hitting with a Earthquake. Not enough damage, unfortunately. But still, it's doing its job. You switch into Delphox, you take that Psychic very easily, not even a special job. You go for Fire Spin, you're scouting out what they're going to do, and you're also maybe going to try to get a damage range in. But so far, you get a free switch in the Rhydon, you go for Earthquake. There is Mimikyu. Mimikyu goes for Reflect, obviously. And Mimikyu is setting up again. It's kind of scary. But I feel like, I think staying in is the right choice. So, Mimikyu here is probably gonna die. I keep forgetting about Rest. I always keep forgetting about Rest. But there's Psychic, switching into Gengar for some reason. I don't understand completely, but it's whatever. There's Grimmsnarl, you can hit with a Mystical Fire, which doesn't care that much about. Because despite having False Surrender, I feel like I've never really seen it for these replays. But, man, this is just... Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Cyber probably wins this. Mimikyu's a sweep, gets it with a Psychic, and even a Special Job. Are you kidding me? Did you go for Fire Blast? No, you don't. I think that's interesting. I guess it worked out because they knew they were going to switch. So now that I think about it, yeah, no, that play is fine. Back in the Mimikyu you go. Ice Beam is not doing that much. Now, Mimikyu is paralyzed. You switch into Delphox again. They go for Sword Stance. Fire Blast could hit, but there's also Mystical Fire. Wait, am I just not paying attention? Okay, I'm just not paying attention. Why did I think I had Fire Blast? I apologize. I'm a little... I think I'm just a little distracted right now. But, it's whatever. Someone will probably make fun of me in the comments, if not all of you. Interestingly, you're staying with Fire Spin. Is there just nothing else you can pivot into? Psychic, unfortunately, is not enough to kill, but you better believe Earthquake is. The last Pokemon is Alakazam, which could be good, but with Chansey, it's just not happening. You're definitely getting paralyzed, and now Cyber DJ has an entire team of Pokemon to throw at you. There is not much you can do here. You go on the Rhydon though? Yes you do. You get a free Earthquake, it does a lot of damage, and the last Pokemon is probably Tauros. Yeah, it's Tauros. Body Slam kills, gets a very unnecessary crit, and that's how Zacanthias was knocked out of the tournament. In the comments for this video, please give massive 07s to both Gemstone, or not Gemstone, or you can give 07s to Gemstone if you want, he played pretty well. But you really need to give 07s for Zacanthias and Shelly. Those guys, holy crap, they had some pretty bad RNG, and I want to see both of them fight. I'll even gladly show the replay for another video if you want. But that's about it for now. Stay tuned for the round 3, because the usage ratings for that also changed considerably, and the matches in themselves are just pretty good. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.